Halstead Telephone Company and R&J Broadcasting Incorporated is proud to present to you this broadcast on YourLiveEvent.com.
Hello, welcome into the YourLiveEvent.com robotics show. Of course, every week breaking down the world of robotics. And this week, big week coming at you as we have the World's competition going on down in Houston. We'll go ahead, talk with a few of the teams, of course, as well as talk with the RoboJacks as well, but that's still to come. Up first, let's go ahead and talk with Team F.R.E.D. That is 2883. Of course, they are down in Houston. This is the 5th time that they've made it down to World. So let's go ahead and talk with F.R.E.D. coming up right after this. Of course, powered by Enbridge, this is a YourLiveEvent.com robotics show. Welcome back into the YourLiveEvent.com robotics show. Of course, we have Worlds going on, and to go ahead and check in on how Worlds are going, we're going to check down with F.R.E.D. at 2883, and joining us now we have Simon and Maddie. And, you know, guys, for both of you so far, what's it been like just taking in Worlds, especially here, and, you know, getting a chance to experience such an event like this?
Well, overwhelming in a good way, like seeing all the teams, all the great robots here is really special. It's memorable too.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that you can talk to, and you get a lot of new ideas, and you get to watch some of the top robots in the world perform. So that's been really cool as well.
And then for you guys too, obviously, you know, this is, you know, compared to, you know, Grand Forks, getting a chance to go into different regional events, traveling a little bit for you guys. You know, obviously, like you mentioned, this is a different stage, especially too. What have the teams really been like, and getting a chance to talk with all these different teams from across the country, across the world at that point?
All the teams are all really great, and they just are inspiring to talk to because, you know, like you said, they come from all over the world, and we're just in Minnesota. So, yeah.
Well, and with that being said too, you know, obviously, you know, looking at Grand Forks, there were different kinds of designs that you guys were able to see. What are some of the more memorable designs that you guys have been able to see down there at Worlds? Anything that's caught your eye here so far?
Well, our coach was talking to Jack in the Bot about their swerve module, and so they were telling us some stuff about that. So that was something that's really interesting that we can kind of apply to our robot. So that's one thing that I learned.
Go back to it.
I got you. Well, the other side of it too is that, you know, from the beginning of the season, obviously, when you first learned about the game, obviously different compared to the last few years. Now for you guys to be at the world stage, especially, what's the journey been like, especially for you guys, from, you know, learning about the game back in January to now being here in April down in Houston and being able to take in the whole Worlds event?
It's been a long journey. I remember our kickoff. That was really fun. We kind of came up with a bunch of different ideas and prototypes and stuff. And from there, we just kind of moved on and adjusted our arm and stuff. We had multiple different designs that we went through in order to get the best one. And then Grand Forks was kind of a roller coaster we didn't do too well in quals, but then we won. So that was a lot of fun. And
we've gone, like he said, our arm has gone through a lot of iterations. We have a new system for this competition, so that's really exciting. And then so it's just like we're always constantly changing and improving our robot.
And then the other side of it too is that obviously it's a long time to travel down there for you guys. What did you guys do to pass the time when it came to the whole trip coming down?
Tweak our robot, like
crazy eights.
Yeah, we on practice when we were waiting for our robot to get here, we had a crazy eights with the drive team. Played crazy eights.
That's awesome, guys. That's awesome. And then, you know, another side of it too for you guys, you know, with it being this far into the season, especially too, just, you know, what kind of memories have you guys made here so far at this point? And, you know, the other side of it too is what have been some of your favorite memories from the rest of the season here, especially as well?
Best memories. One of my favorite memories is definitely winning the GNR.
Yeah.
That was that was a really fun moment.
And lacrosse is great because all the teams are so welcoming to us. I don't know the word, like really kind to us. And then same here. It's just mostly the community is the memorable part of it and what I'll remember most.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. I'll let you get back to Houston and everything like that. We'll try to check in with you guys next week. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bye.
My name is Jared, born and raised in Minnesota, and I'm a project director at Enbridge. Enbridge is more than a pipeline company. It's a company participating in renewable energy projects in Minnesota and abroad, and I'm really proud to be working here.
We believe a cleaner energy future is achievable. For over 20 years, we've been early adopters of renewable energy, and we're proudly committed to net zero emissions by 2050. To hear more from Jared, visit enbridge.com/Jared. That's Jerrid.
And joining us now in from Houston, checking in, we have F.R.E.D, but of course, mentor Jeremy Culleton joining me now, and F.R.E.D, team 2883. And Jeremy, for you, when it comes to, F.R.E.D, this is the 5th trip down that you guys have had, especially. What's it been like this year in 2023 with this style of game and with all of the kids down there as well?
Been great. A little different. Like last year, we bussed it, and 22 hours on a bus. Compared to flying was a little bit different. We still, for us, it's still a trip down. Like we flew out of the city, so it's 6 hours to get on a plane. But pretty great. Like the kids have been awesome. They're in the stands. They're all over the place. They're kind of buzzing. Yesterday it was kind of shell shocked if they've never been to a world championship. So you get here and you have 600 teams that are all running around with robots, and then you throw in the FTC teams and the FLL teams, and it gets a little crazy. So. Great for that aspect. Just going to see other robots, and we're fortunate on our side. We have Archimedes and Galileo, and so we have the cheesy poofs here. And like yesterday, we shared a practice field with the cheesy poofs and Jack in the Box and those types of. So the kids get to talk to them and different things, and get a chance to see their robot up close. And they stand in line in the practice match line, and they're standing next to the cheesy poof. So kids are taking pictures and they're talking about how they built this or and different things. So it's exciting to watch that. And as a coach and a mentor, you sit back and you see them collaborating. Like that's real world, to give them an opportunity to collaborate. And yeah, they're kids and they're students, but they're being professionals. Like they're doing what's going to make them better on a field. And to play the game. And so even strategizing with different groups, like I watched them strategize with Strike Force yesterday, and different things like that. And just to see those kids talking to them and getting an idea of what they want to do. I watched those kids grow all year. It was kind of fun to see that too. So it's exciting as a mentor to be here, obviously. And all of our mentors have just been kind of going around and saying, oh man, did you see this? Did you see this? And so we've been just taking tons of pictures and hoping to share as much as we can when we get back to Minnesota with all the other teams. And we traveled with Greenbush. So we were on the plane and we're in the same hotel. So every night we've been with them. We go out for dinner with them and stuff. And so being able to talk with them about what they've seen, what they're doing over on Newton and on the other side of the building. So we've been kind of going back and forth. So that's been awesome for us as a team and as mentors.
Yeah, and you got to think too, being able to collaborate, not just with teams that, you collaborate with the teams up here with the NMRC especially, but, getting a chance to collaborate with teams across the country, across the world, it's got to feel special for those kids too at that point.
Yeah, it was great. Like it's been interesting to watch them. Like I said, even the language barriers, like, we have teams from Taiwan in our group, and you're talking to them, and you have the language barrier, so you have interpreters in between and stuff. So those are all great experiences. I think that's pretty awesome for them to be able to do that.
And then, the other side of it too, obviously, for your team from beginning of the season now, what kind of preparation did you guys do, in the lead up to Worlds before you guys left, on obviously kind of shipping off at that point for the Worlds competition?
Yeah, so we last year we traveled with, like I said, Greenbush and Hatton. We packed our robots in a U-Haul, and we had two mentors drive them down here. So they left on Sunday, and they drove all the way down and stopped a couple times, and it was kind of neat. They kind of kept track, and in our group me app, they were taking pictures as F.R.E.D is here, and they went and caught a baseball game at Kansas City and different things like that, and they had the U-Haul outside, and so like different things like that. It was kind of fun to watch that. And so we were in Minneapolis, and all of a sudden, they're at a Kansas City Royals game with the robot, or so stuff like that. So it was kind of a game within a game for them. So that was kind of fun. But honestly, like packing up and making sure that you have everything. You get down here and then you realize, oh man, we don't have a 1/2-inch hex shaft. So now you got to find where you can buy a 1/2-inch hex shaft here. So that was kind of different. Because usually we have everything, and that for some reason we didn't pack that. So we scrambled and did that. So that was it was great to be able to do that.
So I asked the same question to your students too, but obviously you got to pass time here somehow. When it comes to a trip down to Houston, anything interesting or anything memorable for you on the trip down to Houston between your students?
Well, this morning we got stuck in traffic, and true traffic jam. Where you're moving in an inch. We left early and everything, and we still got hit with I looked at our GPS and it was solid red everywhere, so we couldn't go anywhere. So the kids are playing this Crazy 8s app, and I've never played it, but so they're screaming and yelling in the back and having a good time with it. But like everywhere I go, I see this Crazy 8 app. Like the kids are playing against other teams and other people and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Last night we did true traditional Texas barbecue, which was awesome. You leave there and you have the meat sweats, and we brisket and chicken, and so that was a great experience. I thought it was kind of neat. So some kids have never had brisket, and some kids have never experienced that. So that was really cool for them to do that. On Sunday is our vacation day or our fun day. So the plan is to head out to Galveston to NASA and to do the beach and put some feet in the ocean a little bit for the kids and do an experience like that. So trying to give them the full gambit while they're here and give them some type of experience. It's not just with robots. So
if you could bring some takeout for me, that'd be great. I would really appreciate that. But the other side of it too that I got to ask is that, for you, I know we talked about it with the kids, getting a chance to work with these different teams, but for you to get a chance to talk to these other mentors, figure out, how they handle certain things. What's it been like for you, like getting a chance to, network with a lot of these different mentors and everything like that?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like that. Like I just before I got on here with you, I was actually the Barker Redbacks coach was sitting next to me because he played in the next match. So we started talking robots and stuff, and then I, of course, hit him up about coming to Grand Forks next year, and I told him, you haven't experienced cold or real weather until you've experienced Grand Forks weather. So they're definitely. He actually said it was on the radar. So that would be outstanding to get the Australian team into Grand Forks. So just talking to him, and if you ever get a chance, I tell you, just watch one of their matches. I don't think I've seen a faster robot moving across the field, and so I'm going to go and visit a little bit about how their swerve is so much faster. Yesterday, I had a conversation with Patrick, who designs the swerve drive specialty stuff. He's the lead guy out there, and their robot too moves faster. So he shared some secrets with us, which I thought was cool. So we're going to kind of put that up on our social media and how that works a little bit, and be able to hopefully share that with Minnesota and how they're getting a little bit more speed out of the stock swerve drive specialty stuff. So that stuff is really neat, I think. And then just even just some of the logistics stuff about how they handle teams has been cool. Conferences, like we sent kids to watch Karthik and different things like that, and to listen to some of those things. So I think that it's definitely an eye opener for a lot of us. Every time that I've come to Worlds, I think I learn a million things, and I think I blow up my phone and I end up having to buy a new cloud memory, I think, every time that we come here. So,
well, that's awesome, Jeremy. Thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I'll be able to check in with you next week to hear about the aftermath, and especially see if you got that Texas barbecue to go for me.
No, you bet. I'll work on it.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate the time. That is Jeremy Culleton, mentor from F.R.E.D 2883, joining us on the YourLiveEvent.com Robotics Show.
Restock on food, fuel, and baits at locally owned Station 371 on Highway 371 in Pine River. Station 371 has bait and tackle, quality Cenex gasoline, off-road diesel, and is the only stop with #1 diesel. Make sure to stop by to wash off the sand and salt with their indoor car wash, open when the temp is at least 26 degrees. They'll hook you up with your fishing and hunting licenses too. Station 371 on Highway 371 in Pine River. Thank you for supporting local business.
Let's get real. Get ready for a place that's big enough to grow and small enough to care. The University of Minnesota Crookston offers more than 35 majors, minors, and certificates. Earn a University of Minnesota degree, where you can make a difference in a close-knit community. Faculty become friends and friends feel like family. You don't need a big city, just big dreams. The University of Minnesota Crookston. Real, hands-on, and will get you ready for anything.
Special thanks to F.R.E.D for joining us. Of course, 2883. Always appreciate the time. And of course, coming up next, we've got a conversation with the RoboJacks, talking about their season as well. And our own Jack got a chance to speak with them. So here's Jack's conversation with the RoboJacks right here on the YourLiveEvent.com Robotics Show, powered by Enbridge.
Welcome back to the Your Live Event Robotics Show. I'm here with Kirk from RoboJacks, team 4674. First and foremost, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well today. E-learning day for school today, so a little different schedule than normal, but yeah, today's a good day. It's a good day to be above the ground.
Good day to be above the ground. Very nice. Now, kind of had a little bit of a conversation beforehand. It was very interesting because typically it's, you're either in an office or you're like in, I'm going to call it a garage or like a shop area. You're actually at the GigaZone gaming competition or championship. So what are you doing there?
Well, the Paul Bunny Communications, based out of here in Bemidji, puts on for the past several years, it's put on a gaming championship where they have a bunch of video games and people can come and compete. And this year they are doing a tech expo. So as part of the Northern Minnesota Robotics Conference, there's a booth, exhibit up here. And so we were just setting that up when our time came to get on and chat with you. And so we're just setting up a very, very small field for the FIRST Robotics, just kind of big enough to turn around and pick up something, and then some other displays, and try to have some things for people who come tomorrow to see what FIRST Robotics is about and what robotics in general, and have some things for them to play and look at some of the things that area teams are doing. So Cass Lake set up, and they've got the robots here. And in a little bit, I'm going to go grab the Bemidji robot. So have a chance for people to see what the area teams have been doing.
Very cool. Very cool. I will say this, it is it's such an interesting thing when you're talking about this and all of a sudden a little drone kind of flies in the background. It's all like, whoa.
Yeah. There's the rec area drone competition. They've got a little exhibit right behind us, so they'll be flying drones around. I think there's another drone exhibit here. Lots of video games. It's probably gonna be pretty hard to keep anybody focused on these exhibits tomorrow because there's gonna be a lot of games to play.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a lot of fun. Honestly, it sounds like wherever kind of FIRST Robotics kind of goes, that's where the party's at. It seems like you guys have way too much fun doing whatever you're doing.
Oh yeah, this is, like one of our mentors said, we were talking about how much time he spends, and he goes, "Well, this is my hobby. This is my hobby." And yeah, and it is. It really is. It's just a ton of fun, and you just get to hang out with some of the best people, and you've had a chance to chat with them over the past several weeks, and so you know what they're like, and it is just fun. It's just a blast.
And talking about a blast, I definitely want to talk about RoboJacks season. This past season. Season is done for you guys. How did the season go in your eyes?
My eyes, we made a kind of a transition with our season this year. We have a lot of new students, and we focused this year a lot on fabricating a robot while we were building it, trying to come up with some building techniques. So I feel we built a really solid robot. And we went down to Iowa to compete with it this year. Wanted with a young team. I wanted to not try to go right from building directly into competing with just a week's notice. That gets kind of tough. So we went to a week 4 event, and young team, maybe didn't compete as well as we had hoped, but considering all the learning that needed to take place, I felt that was a good experience. Got to, a lot of kids had no idea what we were getting into. And so now we've got that first competition under our belt of their career, and looking forward to moving on. And going down to Iowa, they put on a really good event. And we were fortunate to go down there. It wasn't like we were alone. And Nevis was also down there, and right. Prodigy out of Thief River Falls was also there. So there were some familiar faces, and at the same time having to get to meet some other teams that we don't ever see, and some teams that are heavy hitters on the national stage too. So it was really, not that we don't have any in northern Minnesota, but to see some other ones that we wouldn't normally have had a chance to compete with was I think a pretty good experience.
Oh, you made the drive down, or was it a flight?
It was a drive.
It was a drive.
About a 7-hour drive.
7-hour drive. So how was the drive from northern Minnesota down to the competition with all the students and everything else like that? You guys?
Well, we took 3 vans down there, so rather than a school bus, which gave us a little bit of mobility once we were down there. And let's face it, it's long. 7 hours. You want to get out and move around a little bit. Fortunately, on the way down there, we had planned some stops. We stopped by in St. Cloud and visited Central McGowan, which is a company down there that does a wide variety of things. One of the things they do is they provide welding supplies. So some of our students up here were familiar with what they do with welding and the welding equipment they have. But then they also actually build robots for different companies. So, and one of the guys who helps with the robotics and the automation department is also a mentor and a coach with F.R.E.D for Becker, a CIS 4607. And he was gracious enough to give us a tour of the facility, and was a good experience. It kind of explained to students that, hey, what you're doing now is exactly what he's doing and getting paid for. And explain the different components that he works with. So not just going down to a competition, but then to actually take some educational and some career guidance stops along the way. Kind of helps break up the trip.
And again, like you brought it up, and I mean, this is how many weeks of talking with you guys. That has always been like the most amazing thing, I think, when it comes to the robotics is, yes, the game is fantastic, but like they are learning, like the students are learning so many skills that they are going to be able just to bring with them into, adult real life, quote unquote, right?
Oh yeah.
So being able to go and actually see, like, yeah, this is what I do and everything else. I mean, that's awesome. You brought up young team. How many seniors did you have?
I had 4 seniors. 3 seniors were able to make the trip. I had 1 senior that had a scheduling conflict and unfortunately wasn't able to go. So 3 seniors, and you got to remember that one of those years is a COVID year for them. So, they didn't quite get the full experience either. They pitched in and worked hard, but 3 out of the 15 that we took down there it's a tall order.
No. So, I'm glad they were able to, the 3 that were able to go and, experience it. How many, which is always funny because when I moved all over the place when I was, a kid, talking with everyone, anybody like first time kind of out of the state for you guys?
I believe so. I guess I didn't quite check to see if anybody was first time out of state, but other than maybe people going to Grand Forks, and just hitting toward North Dakota. But for a few people, I think this was the furthest they'd gone. certainly the furthest we've ever taken the team. We usually compete in Duluth, Grand Forks. We've been down to the cities through one of the Twin Cities events once, but this was definitely a new experience for me, going down that far and going into an area where I don't know the lay of the land. I don't know where the restaurants are and where the streets are. A little different, but good experience. I'm always telling the kids, we're going to push you to do things you haven't tried before. And I think the same should be true of the coaches.
Oh, absolutely. No, you brought up restaurants. I've been asking this throughout the entire thing because I love food. So did you go any good Iowa cuisine? Did you guys go eat, or was it all pretty like, we're just going to run through this place?
Let's see here. Well, we ate our lunches at the college. So the college provided the meals for the lunches. Otherwise, we did go to Hu Hat, and that was the first time for a few of the students to have that Mongolian grill, and that was probably the most unusual place we went. Certainly we don't have that in Bemidji, so that was probably our stretching out experience. But we did order out a steakhouse, not steakhouse, smokehouse. We got a pulled pork and brisket, which we have in Bemidji. We've got a fantastic place in Bemidji here. But trying some new places, I always enjoy that. And so we had that the night that we were at the rec center with a bunch of other teams, just kind of a fun go use the climbing wall. They had a pool. They had the racquetball courts, volleyball courts set up for just the different teams. Students from the teams could come and, have some activities that weren't robotics and get to mingle with some people that they haven't met before.
Now, you mentioned there were other teams from other places and everything else, but what was I don't want to say strangest, but what was the furthest that somebody, like a team that traveled, or were you guys the furthest traveled?
I would say Thief River was probably the furthest.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They're another couple hours north of Bemidji.
Right.
So I would argue they were probably the first. A lot of teams from Iowa, a couple teams from Illinois, I think Wisconsin, Kansas, Nebraska. I'm trying to think if there's one more, because I know there were 7 states total, and I'm not quite remembering all of them. But I'm willing to bet Thief River was, if not the furthest, they were in the running.
Right. Okay.
And which puts us in the same area.
Exactly. You just kind of, and again, you just put it in the Minnesota. Okay, Minnesota was the furthest. Travel. So very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Now, going out, playing different state, everything else. Anything that you saw, the Iowa teams or any other teams that like completely kind of shocked you, be that a style of play or maybe even a style of robot where it was just like, oh yeah, no, we never even thought of this, or I haven't seen this in Minnesota?
There was one robot there. It wasn't round, but it wasn't your traditional square robot. So it was more like an octagon or a decagon. And so I talked with them a little bit, because I had, every now and then you hear about somebody with that type of robot. But so I chatted with them, and the reason that they had for that was so that they wouldn't get stuck in corners. It would kind of how well it worked. I don't think they were one of the top ones, but it was interesting to hear their how they came up with that design and their strategy for that type of chassis to kind of think outside the box of your traditional chassis. So that was a fun team to talk to. I chatted with their students for a little while, just kind of picking their brain on why did you guys go with this one, and how's it been working. And I'm trying to think if this was their first event. So I think that was so it was still kind of working the bugs out of it. It was fun to watch that.
Right. For RoboJacks and everything else, was there during the competition, was there ever a giant hurdle that you had to get over, or something? there's always
There's
something.
always a giant hurdle. Probably our biggest hurdle was we took 15 students down there, and the night before our first competition, we had 4 of them get sick. So we went to competition with a lot fewer kids than we anticipated to start with, because I was kind of hoping to take 20 students down. We went down to 15. And then to have 4 of them not be able to go to the first day was a challenge. And then in addition to that, this is the first time we've ever applied for and presented for the Impact Award. So we had some of the roles we would have students working on with strictly this robot competition, they were preparing for their presentation. And so we were spread pretty thin. And with a lot of students who had never done this before. And so you ask them to do one thing and then you change it up on them and they get confused. So for me, a big challenge was learning to, okay, just focus on, don't overwhelm the students. And that was a challenge for me, because I'm used to larger teams back when I was volunteering pre-COVID. And so to kind of say, well, let's back off and just make sure they get the experience that they need. If we're trying to do this and we have to let it go, we have to let it go. And so that was kind of a challenge. But yeah, then having, unfortunately for the 4 students that fell ill was definitely a challenge. And then so having to split the mentors up and, okay, we're having some people staying back at the hotel where they're a little more comfortable. Definitely a challenge.
Right. No, I didn't even think of that, because obviously you're not just going to leave the kids at the hotel. You're going to have somebody there. Oh, wow. So it might have been 4 students, but it was really probably like 5 or 6 bodies that were just like off.
Yep.
Oh man. So you brought up, kind of, I'm going to use the term like reining in, the students and, making sure everybody is still being able to do everything. How do the students react to, obviously the added things on their plate now?
Well, the big thing we did with I think they did well. The biggest thing though was for me to listen to the students and, okay, this is what you were told to do. And I know we had some people ask you to do some more stuff. What do you feel comfortable with? And then listening to them and adjust my expectations and adjust, our goals basically in the face of that, which is, that's just something I have to learn as a coach. And so, listening to them, and by Saturday we were feeling much better and having a lot of fun. And so it all went well from that point on. But yeah, just trying to, a lot of it was me having to learn to adjust what I wanted to get accomplished in the light of what the students were able to do. And like I said, Saturday, then we had students feeling better and, singing along with the songs and just having a good time in the stands. This is also the first time we've stayed and watched the whole event, because we're not going to, as soon as we're done with the competition, previous years, it's like, well, there's weather coming in, we're in 2 hours away from home, let's get back. There's a snowstorm coming in or what have you. Well, we had already said we're just going to spend one extra night down in Iowa and not try to rush back. So being able to watch all the events that are happening, all the awards that happen, be able to watch what the top teams actually do and how they perform, I think was very beneficial to a team, especially a young one, to actually see, this is what we want to achieve. This is where we want to get to.
Oh, now and that's fantastic. I'm guessing from which Iowa was what, like 2-3 weeks ago? Yeah.
I think it was 3. Well, it's actually close to a month now.
Close to a month.
We left on the 22nd.
You left during snow, everything else. Was it nice and nice weather down there for you?
It was much nicer. Yes, we actually postponed our start that day. School was 2 hours late, and so we postponed our start by an hour, leaving Bemidji, and was quite slow getting down out of the snow. As we headed. When we first headed south, it was not the greatest roads. And then as we got, closer down to Motley area, then things cleared up a little bit. We were able to pick up the highway speeds. But definitely was much nicer down there. Weather was to go from, basically a glacier down to barren fields was kind of a nice treat that time of year.
No, I bet. Now, so the event is over. Is there a team? Is there a team meeting? What, a week, 2 weeks after, where you guys kind of get together and talk, or is it like, oh no, that was our last thing? We'll see you.
No, we actually had a team meeting a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
And ramping up for now. What do we do with the rest of the year? Because like I said, we're sitting at I'm here at the Gigazone, and we'll have some students here tomorrow helping man this booth, and so kind of moving into our the outreach and the impact side of the team, which is now let's take what we've learned and go share our excitement, share what we've learned, and kind of show what robotics does for us with adults, in terms of looking at people who might want to partner with us, teachers, to show that this is something they may want to incorporate in their classrooms. So we'll be traveling to some schools and presenting at schools. The team will be going to the Boys and Girls Club this next week and doing a STEM day at the Boys and Girls Club, and demonstrating robots and some STEM activities with students, along with some other organizations in town. So yeah, we definitely are meeting and trying to organize those types of activities. The students are calling different places, say, hey, would you like this to come over and give a presentation, practicing presentations? What area of emphasis do we want to work on? We have one school that we're going to go do an assembly for, and they would like us to specifically focus on teamwork. That's a value, a characteristic that they want to impress on their students. And so we'll use a robotics platform to talk to the students the importance about being part of a team and teamwork and what a good team member is like.
That's awesome. And again, it's just it's another one of those things where it's just like, I've been saying it the entire time as well, where I'm like, where was this when I was in high school or everything else? But like, yeah, teamwork doesn't just stop when you're out of high school, college. Like when you get into the real world, oh my goodness, do you need some good teamwork?
Yep.
So that's awesome. That's really, really cool. The one thing that you said there, the students are the ones making these contacts and shooting them off and saying like, hey, can we come and do X, Y, Z, or going to the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, that's the students pushing that.
Well, the Boys and Girls Club reached out to us.
Oh, okay.
Actually, they reached out to the former coach who forwarded it to us. But that's one of the things is we a couple of weeks ago we sat down and said, okay, where are some places that we would like to go talk and present, and talk about robotics, talk about STEM and engineering and the things that we do. And so they have a list of places that they're reaching out to, a couple of the schools, and so they're working on making those contacts and seeing if we can work on those. And then some of this stuff is going to move into the summer as well. We're approaching, even though it doesn't feel like it outside, we just got dumped on with snow here, but the school year is coming to an end. So there'll be some other opportunities in the summer that we will have for hopefully some off-season competitions, but then, a parade, exhibits at the fair, just some things. There's in town here, there's a teacher conference that we are invited to participate in within our school district. So plenty to keep us busy.
Now, with all that being said, is there ever really an off season for you guys?
It doesn't seem like anymore. Oh. I'm starting to see it. There's a rhythm to this, that it's more of a during, come in January, you start building, and that's just your frantic, hectic time of late nights and stressing about, we need this part. Are we going to be able to order it? Can we borrow it? Do we have to make it? Designing the robot, building the robot, and then you're trying to brush up for competition. And then when you go to competition, that's a very intense 3 days. And if you're trying to do multiple competitions, like a lot of area teams do, take that times 2, times 3. And then depending if you go to the championships down in Houston and the state tournament in Minneapolis, your season can get extended into May. But then it kind of transitions into now let's go have some fun talking about what the experience was like, what that build experience is like, what that competition experience is like, and maybe do some workshops. Maybe if we can work with some kids and say, hey, let's work on some sample coding, and some projects that are the building blocks to the way of thinking, to the logical thinking, to the engineering thinking that's needed, with an elementary. Kindergartners are great at playing and great at experimenting, and they build stuff and it breaks, and then they find a way to build it, and they don't know that that's what they're doing, but they're engineers. And so to go to a classroom and, essentially play with these students and encourage them to keep playing, and then eventually they will come to be in high school and be in robotics, and it's still play.
Very true. Now, your favorite part, favorite memory from this season thus far?
Oh boy, to a degree, it gets to be a blur. I would say I don't know if it's a memory, but just stepping back and watching some of the growth that happened this team, not just with the new students, because that was huge, but I had the fortune of having 4 former students step in and be mentors. By the end of the season, I had 4 additional students helping out the team, sharing what they have learned in robotics from back when they were in school, 4 years ago. But then also, this is what I'm doing in my job. This is how this has helped me. This is, and making that connection with our students so that it's not just, just being able to bridge that kind of almost that generational gap. We're a previous generation of students. We've now moved on, but yet this is so important. We want to come back and do what we can to make sure that they have a positive experience as well. That's probably the one thing that, reflecting on it, that keeps coming to my mind. So not necessarily in one little instant thing. Yes, there were tons of fun things too. Had one of our students convince me to do a TikTok video with them, which is not in my nature, and just some of the other fun things we've done. But that's probably the one thing that keeps sticking out this year was kind of the students who are coming back.
No, that is awesome. That is so awesome, because you can, like you said, you can kind of see that generational gap. But not only that, like, oh, okay, it must be really heartwarming for you being like, hey, what they got from this thing that I also enjoy, they kind of caught that bug as well.
Yes.
So that is so awesome. Well, I'm going to let you get back to it. Seriously, thank you so much for your time. It's been fantastic catching up with you. Thank you again. And with that being said, stay tuned.
This year, Schrupp Excavating is celebrating 40 years of digging it right. With this milestone year, Schrupp Excavating wants to thank all of their past, current, and future employees and customers. They appreciate all you've done to help Schrupp Excavating become one of the most trusted companies in the Lakes area. For any excavation project, Schrupp Excavating will have your project done right and on time, serving Pine River, Bacchus, Pequot Lakes, and all the surrounding communities. Schrupp Excavating LLC, online at schruppexcavating.com. The PRB Boosters are happy to sponsor coverage of the Tigers. Like them on Facebook for events and fundraisers. The PRB Boosters could use your help. Be part of great events and fundraisers, all built to give back and present more opportunities for the students of Pine River Backus schools. For information or to get started, email prboosterclub1.com. Meetings are the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. at the school. Good luck, Tigers, from the PRB Boosters.
Special thanks to the RoboJacks for the conversation. As always, we appreciate it. And now let's go back down to Worlds down in Houston. I got a chance to catch up with the Thunder of Hatton Northwood, of course, Thunder Robotics 876. Got a chance to speak with them down in Houston at Worlds. So here's my conversation with Thunder Robotics earlier today. And of course, Worlds going on in the worlds of robotics. And of course, we got to talk about it right here on the YourLiveEvent.com Robotics Show. Joining me now, Thunder Robotics mentor is Mike Vogelweed, of course, of Team 876. And Mike, this is your 9th trip now going into Worlds. And for you, how does this year compare to some of the previous years, especially?
I don't know. Things have really come together, like some of the kids said. It's as a team, I think we coalesced quite a bit. Changed our robot. Maybe the most we've ever changed it during the course of a season, and with increasing success on the field, it's just been real good. And this trip to Houston, we took a big crew. I think we added last year we took 18 students, and this year we are taking 26. We have a lot of parents. Mentors, we have a big contingent down here, so it's been a blast. So it's a special year, that's for sure.
And I got a chance to talk about it with the kids a little bit too, but getting a chance to see not only teams that you see around here in North Dakota, Minnesota, but getting a chance to see them work with teams around the world, especially too. That's got to be special for you as a mentor to see these kids work together with them.
Oh yeah. I mean, you get together with, Israel has a good representation here, and to see them chatting away and coming over. It's a lot of, Canada isn't too far away, but most of the teams here are from the populated area of Ontario, Toronto, and Ottawa. And it's just fun. Like they were talking about the culture. The Mexican teams are very demonstrative, and they're singing national songs and team songs and walking around with traditional dress, and they're pretty cool. And of course we're in Texas, and that's almost like another country, as you can see in the background. And Texans have their own pride, and it's pretty fun to be in Houston, especially this time of year.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like the weather is pretty good down there for you guys. And
oh, yeah.
Well, like the other side of it, too, is that, the students get to work with all these different teams and everything. But, for you as a mentor, getting a chance to talk with other mentors from, across the world as well. How is that for you, especially this kind of an event?
Really good. I connect with a lot of people that I've met before. The Hawaiian team that we've seen in the past. It's fun to get a hold of. Hawaii has a lot of teams, but they have some real good ones. And just for me to meet these people, this is maybe the only time you see them is on the world stage, and they might be a real high-powered team, but they're just kids and mentors like any other team, and it's special for them. So it's good for me to connect with all those people. And then, of course, Mac, the people in the background that make all this run is amazing to see. It's almost all volunteer, this whole organization. So it's actually pretty well oiled. It runs well.
I mean, I would hope so, given it's robotics. I would hope that it's a nice, well-oiled machine at that point, too. But the other side of it, too, is that, we talked about it at the beginning of the year, the differences in the game this year compared to previous years as well. Now that we're in April at this point, what have you seen that were, maybe some unforeseen changes that you think that might have gone under the radar? And, how have you seen the evolution, especially? I know you talked about a lot of changes with your robot, but the evolution that you've seen from the game as a whole that you've seen throughout this year.
Yeah, the game has gotten faster as people get more used to it. It gets into a rhythm. Especially the good ones get together and just cycle the game pieces through, and it's how fast they can do it, how fast they help each. The autonomous has played a bigger and bigger part, but the game itself is kind of field somewhat. So the difference is, and I think our kids brought that up at the beginning of the year, is we knew we had to be faster. Because we thought everybody would be able to pick up pieces. It's the ones that do it quicker that are going to come out on top. So we definitely see that here. The top teams in each division are extremely fast. And of course, the human aspect, not just the programming or the machine, but it's the kids that are running them have gotten more experience. And as they get more familiar with their robot and what they need to do, they can just move through faster and faster. So the game has picked up. The scores are much higher, and because of that, I think the spectator aspect is better. I think the spectators, as they've watched more competition, understand the game more.
All right, and Mike Vogelweed, a mentor for Team 876, the Thunder Robotics, down in Houston. Mike, thank you so much for the time. Looking forward to talking with you soon. Hopefully get a chance to talk to you next week and get a recap of everything that went on over in Houston.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Jared, born and raised in Minnesota, and I'm a project director at Enbridge. Enbridge is more than a pipeline company. It's a company participating in renewable energy projects in Minnesota and abroad, and I'm really proud to be working here.
We believe a cleaner energy future is achievable. For over 20 years, we've been early adopters of renewable energy, and we're proudly committed to net zero emissions by 2050. To hear more from Jared, visit enbridge.com/Jared. That's JERRID.
Welcome back to YourLiveEvent.com Robotics Show. Once again, we got Worlds going on this week. So we got to check in with Thunder Robotics, of course, 876 down in Houston. And we got the whole crew. We got Trevin, Christopher, Ryder, Drea, Elias, and Kaylee all joining us here now at this point. And, for all of you guys, what's it really been like, especially for you guys taking in an event like this, this big of an event like Worlds?
What's it been like?
It's been real slow. It's a lot of sitting around waiting from match to match, as there are 77 teams competing against us.
And for all of you guys, though, for an event like this of this scale, how has it been like for you guys talking to different teams? Not just northern Minnesota and North Dakota at this point, but getting a chance to talk to teams from across the world.
It's been really cool. I've gotten to talk to a bunch of teams from a bunch of different countries, and it's so cool to learn about how robotics works there, internationally, instead of just in the U.S.
Yeah, you guys.
You get to go around and learn new things from other people, and just get to see how there are different cultures and everything around. They show it throughout everything that they do, and it's really cool to see that. Then cheering throughout the hallways and stuff, and it's just awesome to see.
What about the rest of you guys?
It's just awesome seeing their different ways they chant and the way they cheer for the team. It's awesome to see their languages they speak, and it's just really, really awesome.
Well, I guess I've actually had some conversations with people from different countries and stuff. Met a lot of good people too. found out of different cultures and stuff that they had, and the reasoning behind like certain designs they have, like on like robots or have for like giveaways in their pits and stuff. Overall,
And then for all of you guys here, especially too, I know that different regions have different, designs that you'll see your different focuses when it comes to this year's game, especially. What are some of your favorite design choices that you guys have seen from across the competition here so far?
I like what's the one that has like those cylinders?
24.
Right here. Right here.
I think it's 2406. They have a really cool design where it's got a ladder kind of shooter, but the way they pick it up is they have a cylinder intake, so they can really pick it up at any angle. And I think it looks really it looks really different, so it really stands out and it works really cool and really well.
There are a couple of robots that did stand out, like the one that she said, for example. Like, it was cool too because if it got knocked down, it could pick itself back up, or it could crawl into the charging station without unleveling it for the other team and disadvantaging it.
Yeah, it goes on the side of it.
Yeah.
It goes like on the side and it uses its arm to lift itself up to go onto the station, and it's so cool.
There was another cool robot. Actually, a couple robots did this where they'd shoot the cone or the cube and stuff. But there is a disadvantage to that too, because there's a 50-50% chance they'll make it or miss.
Which all comes down to your auto and how your programmers work with their things. So it's definitely just guessing and going and learning what the ways to do it is.
There was also a robot that had a milk crate on its design. I don't know what it does, but it's on the robot.
It's actually pretty good.
Okay, and the other side of it too for you guys is, you guys had to travel down there. It takes a lot of time. What was it like trying to pass the time for you guys on the way down to Houston? You guys do anything in particular or play any games, anything like that along the way?
Well, we all have like different devices. Like we played the Switch, and we are like a local community of like a Mario Kart that we played together. And some people have brought like card games and stuff like that.
Who's the top Mario Kart racer?
What?
Who's the top Mario Kart racer out of you guys?
Who's the top? It's me all the time.
We also play this game called Score, which is where you basically look out the windows, and anytime you see a yellow car or truck or anything, you yell score, and you have to try to get the most points. And a lot of us just pass time, especially going through cities and whatnot, just being able to do this with a whole bunch of people and being able to look both ways throughout the windows.
Mm-hmm. It's a really good way to try and get yourself off your devices and looking at the world around you instead of just only being on your devices to pass time.
For sure. And the other thing too that I wanted to ask you guys here especially is that now we're in April. Obviously you guys learned about the game back in January. What are some of your favorite memories that you guys have had throughout the season from when you first saw the game to where you guys are at now being in Houston?
I gotta say it's the team bonding. It's a lot of time together, and it's not exactly the people you would typically put yourself around. You might meet new people and find friends that you wouldn't have thought you could have made.
I also think something that's fun is especially when they go out to the arena, the whole team or whatnot, they love to do little jokes and do tricks with their hands while they're standing there waiting, and it's so fun to see through the stands when we're scouting because it just makes us laugh so much.
Or another thing would be is no matter what team we go up against, or say when teams go up against each other, we're all friendly to each other at the end of the day. It's almost like kind of a friendly bond. There's no competitiveness outside of the field when the match is over.
We're not in it to win it. We're in it to make new connections and learn about STEM and, grow and, maybe get new information we wouldn't have got without this. Because, winning is always fun, but you really, having the experience, can really benefit all these high school kids in their future.
It shows the younger kids, what they can see when they grow up, and being able to know that like if they work their hardest and they push through every challenge and obstacle that we have to go through when we do robotics, that they can end up here and end up being able to have this fun experience with their whole team.
I mean, not a whole lot of teams really get to make it to Worlds, so kind of lucky in that sense.
For sure, guys. And hey, we appreciate the time. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thunder Robotics, we got Trevin, Christopher, Ryder, Drea, Kaylee, all joining us. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate the time and best of luck the rest of this weekend.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
Special thanks to Thunder Robotics, 876 for the conversation down in Houston. Always appreciate the time as always. And also special thanks to Team F.R.E.D for joining us down from Houston, 2883, as well as the RoboJacks in their conversation with Jack as well here on the YourLiveEvent.com Robotics Show. As always, we are powered by Enbridge, and as always, our episodes go live every Saturday. Make sure you hit that like button, of course, comment down below, and always hit that notification bell to get notified when we go live as well. Of course, make sure you subscribe. I'm Mac Robinson for Jack. We want to say thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you next week right here on the YourLiveEvent.com Robotics Show.